Welcome to 6th grade. I'm Mr. Collins and I want to say welcome to Spencer County Middle School. I'm really looking forward to this school year and wanted to get right into helping my students prepare for it. This is my 9th year teaching at SCMS and my 10th year teaching overall. And I like to tell my students at the start of the school year that every class of new 6th graders that came before you is always just kind of amazed at how quick and easy it is to get used to middle school and all of the things that are different from elementary school. If you have an older brother or sister or friend that attended SCMS in the past, I'd encourage you to ask them. They'll probably tell you that the new routine part of middle school gets really easy really quickly, and that if they felt stressed the first couple days of school, it fades really fast. I've only got a few minutes, so I'm going to go really quickly into previewing a few things that might help my students as well as parents and guardians get into that new routine of middle school. And if I move a little fast here, know that we slow down and walk through everything step by step over the first few days of school in classes. First up is your daily routine. You've probably noticed that my classroom is separate from your other core 6th grade classes. By core classes, I mean math with Mr. Penrod, social studies with Mrs. Bradbury, and science with Mr. Armstrong. When leaving my classroom, you'll see the doors to the library on your left past the stairwell, and to your right will be Miss Owen's room. She teaches 6th grade language arts on the other team. The hallway past her room is for 8th grade classes. Our 8th grade students and teachers are extremely cool, but don't go down their hallway between classes as we want to keep it quiet for them like they typically do for us. Your first period class and your fourth period class may rotate or change every 9 weeks depending on what you have for that class. Your fifth period class is going to stay the same, and for most students it's going to be a reading class where you'll get some extra practice on a lot of things you'll work on in language arts, as well as participate in mentoring sessions with a teacher and getting some extra practice on Summit with some extremely important parts of your learning in your core classes. If you're a fan of lunch like I am, it happens during 5th period right at the start of class for 6th grade. And since we have first lunch, you'll be getting it pretty early in the day, typically around 11:15. When I first started teaching and when I was in school, we carried overstuffed, monstrous backpacks with a 10-pound textbook for every class, to every class, and your parents and I have the back pain to prove it. I would encourage you to keep it light in middle school. And that's a lot easier to do because you don't need as much for classes today thanks to technology that we use in classes. Inside your backpack, there's only a few things that you really have to carry. You'll need to carry a small binder that Mrs. Bradbury will help you set up for the year. You'll take this class to class and you'll use it to keep any paper assignments that you might have. After our first library visit, which happens within the first couple weeks of school, you'll get to check out a library book, and you'll need to bring that with you to every class so that you can read it if you actually have any time to do so. It'd be helpful to keep a big stock of pencils in your backpack, of course, and if you want to carry a water bottle, that's fine, but just make sure it's only got water in it. With just those things in your backpack, it should stay pretty light. Teachers may expect different things for that backpack throughout the year. Always listen to them first, but we promise to keep things pretty easy on you. Your other teachers today are probably going to dive a little bit deeper into some of the digital tools we use on Summit, but I still wanted to cover it a little bit. You are on the Summit team this year in 6th grade, which just means that our team tackles the content you're supposed to learn a little bit differently. We put a lot of focus on you learning by doing rather than memorizing. In our classes, we call our learning units projects instead of units because they add up piece by piece into you being able to create something. For these projects, instead of you always just taking a multiple choice test to show you've learned something, we want you to end up making, creating, or showing your learning in some way. This may mean you end up creating something like a storyboard in Mr. Collins' class at the end of your project, or going outside and doing some crazy science experiment with Mr. Armstrong at the end of one of his projects. We still take opportunities to do those more traditional style tests as part of what we learn in class, and I dive deep into study skills as well as testing skills in my class, but they're not always the main focus. When I was in middle school, I always struggled keeping up with homework papers and my assignments. I would constantly lose them, and I would have benefited a lot from the way we do things today. The vast majority of your assignments for my class will be completed on one of two places. The first being Google Classroom. We'll open each class each day by going to Google Classroom and doing some sort of opening question. I may also post some miscellaneous assignments there. The rest of your work is going to be located on the Summit Learning platform. We typically go on there for our daily work, which we call checkpoints that add up to be some sort of larger project. Both of these platforms keep your work really well organized for you to keep up with. You or your parent or guardian can check in on your work anytime by going to either website. In Google Classroom, I keep your work organized by date. On Summit, you can start out in a zoomed out year view, click the project you're working on, and get a view of your assignments day by day. With green usually meaning your assignment is complete, and other indicators like red or gray meaning you need to fix something or that you haven't turned in something yet. In my class, I also give students a copy of something I call the daily menu. This just lists the main assignments we'll be working on each day. I've given you a preview copy of this to look at. I'd encourage students to check off assignments they complete in class as they go, and take this home each day to review with parents. You can also use this page to double check that you're keeping up with everything in my class. Parents have told me that this has been helpful in the past, so I also include it in emails that I send home at the start of every week. On Monday, when we start the week, I'll send you a list of the 5 days of assignments that we're going to do, and students can check these off as they go. I usually don't allow students to work ahead on these as I post things day by day, but they're still there for students to keep up with. And if students are absent for any reason and they want to stay up with their work, they can complete these by just following step by step on their menu. The dessert section of the menu will usually just ask students to do some sort of daily reading. We're still working on what reading goals will look like across the language arts classes this year, but ultimately we expect students to do some sort of novel reading at home every day. Any other homework that students have will just be stuff they didn't complete in class, or if they have some sort of big test or project that they need some time to work on at home, and I'll try my best to indicate when this is. I'll be taking email addresses off of Infinite Campus here within the next few days and sending home some material for parents and guardians to review if you wish. And students, I'm looking really forward to getting to know you this week, talking about what we're going to be learning and doing in language arts for the year ahead, and also some of the really fun stuff that SCMS has planned as a school to do this year. Thank you all and have an awesome day.